Here we are, one full week to go. Thanks for joining us this Sunday. I'm Lauren Maloney. Vermont is one of only two states with a two-year term for its governors. New Hampshire is the other. In the Green Mountain State, the incumbent is asking for a third term next month as he leads the state through a pandemic. Governor Phil Scott takes on his second-in-command, David Zuckerman. Our own Brittany Weir spoke with both men this past week. First up, the Republican with a look at what's kept him up at night during a trying 2020.
This is always on my mind. Back initially, obviously this was 7 days a week, no playbook whatsoever. We didn't know what the next day was going to bring. Trying to make the best decisions based on the science and the data and the health experts, and as well as my cabinet. And we made, a lot of good decisions at that point, but they were difficult. Every single time they made a decision, I thought, this is the most difficult decision we're going to have to make. But little did I know that there was another big decision to make right beyond that, and then one after that, and one after that. So as tough as it was for me, the governor who promoted the economy and growing the economy, to be shutting businesses down initially was difficult. But opening the businesses back up in a measured way has been equally as challenging.
In terms of leadership and what this pandemic, has kind of taught you and leadership skills, did you ever think, you'd be tested in this way? And what kind of have you learned from, still going through this? And
yeah, I don't know as anyone would have forecasted something like this happening. And it's been a test of the leadership team I put into place, and a test for all Vermonters to dig deep and really, again, prioritize what's important. Figuring out what you need and what you want, and distinguishing between the two, and be willing to make those tough decisions regardless of the outcome. And I've been able to do that with the support of, again, my team, and we made some difficult decisions over the last 4 years, but particularly over the last 7 or 8. But we're field tested at this point. I think we have a good record. Just trying to give a sense of faith and trust in government to our constituents, Vermonters, and we'll continue to do what we think is right, regardless of the political outfall.
Would you say that's like the biggest thing you've learned during this time? Is there anything that, as governor going into this, obviously, like you said, you've never expected to have to deal with this, so biggest takeaways? Or?
Well, again, it's just trying to react and make the best decisions you can, and be able to be as transparent as you possibly can, and tell Vermonters why you're doing what you're doing. I think that's important. The communication aspect has been important. Having the press conferences twice a week, as 2 hours each time, I think it's been good for Vermonters to give them, I guess, a sense that we've got this covered. We're doing the right thing, or we're not doing the right thing, and communicating what we need to do differently. And I think that's been helpful. And I think, again, the media has been an essential part of that. Having a free press, a media that will be able to communicate with our constituents has been vital.
You often find yourself in a small club of Republican governors who in some way reject some things about President Trump. Does this feel like strength in numbers, or is it kind of a lonely group? What are your thoughts on that?
I've always tried to be as transparent as possible. When I see something the president isn't doing what I would call the right way, then I would call him out on it. And I think it's important for all of us to do that. And I hope, if we want to reinstill faith and trust in government, we have to tell the truth. And we have to be able to communicate that. And I would hope that my friends on the other side of the aisle would do the same if their president was a Democrat, was in office, and he or she was doing something that they didn't agree with, that they would speak up as well. But I think it's just important. It's part of my nature, and I feel as though I'm somewhat like an umpire or a judge. I just call them the way you see them.
Do you plan to vote in person, or are you going to vote by mail?
I'm still contemplating that. I may vote in person, but I still have that option before another few days before I have to make that decision.
Some time. And, say you are reelected, what would you plan to do in your first 60 days as governor?
It's really trying to continue to formulate the plans for the next year, the budgets and so forth. But the pandemic comes first at this point in time, and just dealing with that while making sure the wheels of government still turn, but also contemplating the future and focusing on the economy, making Vermont more affordable, and protecting the most vulnerable.